Hi everyone, my name's Tirza Price. I'm a YA author, but I also create this reading log every year to track my reading. I like doing this reading log because it's a private-ish way to keep track of your reading. It is based on Google Sheets, so you do need a Google account, and it lives on your Google account if you want to use it. You can download it to Excel. Some of the functions might shift a little bit in Excel, so you might have to kind of mess around with that if you want to do that, but that is an option. I like to keep mine in the cloud because I like to be able to access it on the go, and I like knowing that I can't lose it. The file can't accidentally be deleted or lost if I lose my device. So you do need your own Google account in order to access this, but it has a lot of tracking power and it is highly customizable. So I've been doing this for several years now. You can look back at my YouTube channel to see other tutorials. This year's reading log has not changed very much. I've made just a couple slight tweaks, but I'm going to show you how to use it, how to customize it to your own reading, and some examples of what it looks like. So before I get into the nitty-gritty of how to use it, I want to show you how you can access your own copy, because I get a lot of confusion about that. So the best way to do it is to go to File, and then you come down to Make a Copy, and then you're going to make sure that you're logged into your own Google Drive. You're going to pick wherever in your drive you want to save it. You can rename it. Like I can say, hey, Tirza's 2026 reading log, and then you're going to create or make a copy. And that's just going to get a copy of this because the template is not editable. And then this way you can really just start filling it out. So I actually filled out a sample log because right now it's not very impressive, and you can kind of get a better sense once you see some data in there. So this is just a quick little sample log of books that I've just kind of filled out at random here. But there's a lot of different categories and data bits that you can fill out. I guess the one drawback to this, if you want to use it, is you kind of have to fill it out yourself, but you don't have to use all of these. You don't have to fill out all these columns if you are not interested in if you're not interested in tracking the publication date. We don't have to mess with that. But these are just things that I like to track, and other things that other readers have given me feedback on that they've wanted in this. So that's why it looks like a lot. So you have title, author, artist, narrator, artist for like graphic novels, narrator for audiobooks, publisher, publication date, the date you start the book, the date you finish it. If you do not finish the book, you can do a little drop down for DNF, the page length, the length of the audiobook, the format. We've got print, digital, and audiobook, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and then form. That's just, prose, novella, essay collection. We've got play and picture book in there. So there's a lot of different options there. Genre, I've got a list of genres here. And this is not supposed to be a comprehensive list of genres, but just a kind of good example of everything that you could possibly read. This is also customizable. I'll show you how to add more genres or split up genres in a second. Sorry if you hear my dog's tags jingling in the background. He's a little restless. Audience, adult, children, young adult. POC is the author, artist, protagonist, or both author, artist, and protagonist, a person of color. Ditto with LGBTQIA, trans creators, creator gender. I have you just at male, female, male/female is if you have two creators, one of each. Non-binary, other. You can also customize this, and again, all of these you don't have to fill out if you don't want to. I like to fill them out just because I like to try, if I know that information about the author, we don't always know that information, but if I do know that information, I like to try to keep track of it, just to make sure that I am reading diversely. I find that oftentimes I think that I read pretty diversely, but when I have actual data in front of me, sometimes I think that I find that I don't read as diversely as I think I do. So having data kind of helps steer me in the direction so I can kind of meet those, my personal reading goals of reading as diversely as possible. Disability representation, whether or not the book is a reread or a translation. And then the original language. This is for if a book is published in a language other than English at first. So if you read a lot of books in translation, you might want to track that. Obviously, this is not a comprehensive list of all of the possible languages out there. So you can add to those as well. I just tried to kind of give a general list. Nation of origin, where the book is originally published. And then book source. Again, this is a pretty generic list of where you get the books from. This one I did just slightly change up this year, partly because I had changed how I was tracking my own reading. So I have always wanted to kind of separate between like books that I have on my shelf that I've owned, books on my TBR shelf, and then books that I purchased in 2026, just because I'm trying to read more books off of my TBR shelf, and I wanted to distinguish those from rereads of books I already own. Audiobook source, a lot of options there. And then reason for reading, because sometimes people like to track that, whether they're reading it for work or school, book club, personal development. And then here, when you add in dates for start and finish, you get an average of how many days it took you to read the book, and how many pages per day you read. And ditto with audiobooks, how much time you spent reading. And then there's the star ratings. So there are half-star ratings, half a star up through 5 stars. And then I'll talk about the challenge column in a second. And then this notes column is really just for you, whatever you want to use the notes column for. So this is where you input all of the data. If you come down here to the next tab, this is where you get a lot of those statistics. So yeah, there's a lot of information here. It can be maybe a little bit overwhelming if you're just looking at it at first, but you get total read books, how many books you did not finish, your total pages read, total hours of audiobook listening, total money spent and total books purchased. That's a different tab, so I'll show you that in a second. And then you have some averages. Just a note here, the reason this says negative 113 is because I'm basing this off of 2026 dates, and I'm currently filming this in 2025. So once we roll over into the new year, that will reset and that will be accurate. So if you like to look at the numbers, here are all the numbers. But if you are like me and a visual person, you also get this in fun charts. And I like the charts. This is like my favorite part of this reading log, is looking at all the pie charts and the graphs and everything. So yeah, as you can see, we've got pie chart or a graph for almost every statistic that we have powered, or pretty much every statistic. And this is just really fun to keep track of. And then the next tab is challenges. So if you are somebody who likes to do reading challenges, whether that's like an established reading challenge that's already out there, or you like to set your own reading challenge, this comes blank when you do it. I just put a couple in here as an example, and I'll show you how we can automatically populate titles on this reading challenge chart. And yeah, so you can just fill that out however you want, or you can ignore it entirely. The last tab is the book spending log. And maybe you don't want to know how much money you spend on books, but maybe you do want to keep track of this. I'm an author, so I keep track of this because this is important when it comes to tax time, and figuring out how much money I spent on books for my taxes. But yeah, you can, it's just kind of a simplified version of the first log page, where you can record title, author, the format that you buy the book in, where you buy it from. This is again a generic list. You can customize it, how much it cost, the reason for the purchase, and then whether or not you've read it, which for me is a very important feature because I have a habit of buying books and not reading them right away. So I want to try to be better about reading the books that I purchase. And then you can get a total amount, a total purchase, and total read. And then this is kind of just the powering of those statistics over here. But then you could see the breakdown of where you're buying your books from, which can be interesting. And then this also pops up. This chart over here does pop up as a more visual chart down here when you can see how many purchase books you've read versus unread and your purchase source. So that's a quick rundown of what this log looks like. I'm going to next show you how you can update this log and customize it for your own purposes. So as I mentioned, I just put in some books here as a quick example, so you could see some of those statistics and charts in action. But let's say you would like to add to this list of genres. You can just click anywhere into this column. You're going to come up to data, and then you're going to come down to data validation. It's going to bring up this sidebar over here, and we're in column O. So if we come down to O, value contains one from list. If you click on this, it's going to bring up the list of drop-down menus. So you can add another item. And let's just say you want to add the genre romantasy because that's popular, and I didn't put romantasy on this list. But you could do that if you wanted to. Lay down. Lay down. Good boy. Sorry about that. Okay, we're going to hit done. And then when you come over here, romantasy is now an option, which is awesome. However, and I'm going to put Fourth Wing on here so we have a book that is romantasy, and I'm not going to fill out the entire list or the entire row here, but we have romantasy. So we're not quite done yet though, because if you add anything here, then we have to come over to the stats and we have to add romantasy to the stats. So if you come down here, we can add romantasy, and the best way to get your numbers into this cell is to just pop up here and then come up to the formula bar and just copy and paste the formula. And then you're going to click down here, paste that formula back up here. So this is the formula, but we're going to change, instead of true crime, we're going to put romantasy. Now, the one thing to remember is that what you put right here in green has to match the drop-down menu term exactly in order for it to be counted. So you click away, and it's counting one romantasy book. Awesome. To get your percentages, similarly, you're just going to come over here, just copy that formula. We'll paste it in there. And then the only change that we're going to make is, instead of E62 divided by B2, we're going to be counting E63. So we just make that slight adjustment, hit enter, and then it showed up as not a percentage, but a decimal. So if you come up to the numbers, more formats, you can tell it, count this as a percentage, so it matches everything else. Same here, count that as a percent. So there you go. That is how you add something to the drop-down menu and then add it here. And then when you pop over to the chart, it should automatically update. And there it is. Now you see romantasy is included in the pie chart. So it's basically the same sort of idea if you want to change up the format or the form, if you want to change up genre, if you want to change up audience, if you want to add a nation of origin or an original language, or if you want to customize these book sources, or customize these reasons for reading. You can delete any of these, or you can, add anything, change anything, you're just going to do it over here from this list of values and data validation rules. Click on that, add, delete, save, whatever you want to do. Just remember, whatever you change here, you're going to have to add over here. Excuse me. So with that in mind, I'm going to click over to the charts. These charts are also pretty customizable. Like if, for example, you don't like this goldenrod yellow brown color, if we just click on it, we can come over to the right here. There's tons of different colors. You can change them. You can change from the themes, or you can do any color you want. There, that looks better. So again, highly customizable. You can kind of tweak it however you would like. And then, the challenges. I'm just going to show you the challenge. So one of my challenges, read a book I bought in 2025 and never got around to. Let's say that is Sisters in the Wind by Angela Angboli. So you're going to go and look at what number challenge that is. It's in challenge number 1, not line 1, but challenge 1. Come over to the reading log, scroll all the way over to the right, and under challenge, I'm going to put 1 and click away from that. And then if you come back to the challenges, it's automatically populated with the title and the author, which is pretty cool. So, and then it also keeps track of how many challenges you've completed and how many you've yet to do. So there's 24 there. You can add more challenges by adding more rows, but then you'll just have to remember that you're going to have to adjust here. So if you add more, you're going to have to count more than just C3 through C26. And then you'll have to change this formula for however many challenges you have minus D27, which is how many you have completed. So those are just a few different examples of how you can customize this and make it your own. If you pop over to the book spending log, like one thing you might want to do, same idea here is you're going to go to data validation. Here you can go and you can add, like, you want to do more than just like retail source, or you want to get more specific with the retail source. Like maybe you shop a lot from your favorite independent bookstore. Instead of just saying indie, maybe you want to add that bookstore in. You can do all of that. You'll just have to remember to come over here and add whatever drop-down menu addition you put. And again, check out this, the formula that's in this column here. You can just copy and paste it, make the adjustments that you need, add the formula for the percentage, and then you should be good to go. So one last thing that I want to point out is that a lot of times people ask me, how are these percentages calculated? And everything is kind of powered by this total read number. This is kind of like the holy grail number that really controls a lot of these percentages and statistics. So how this is calculated is by putting in a date, a finish date. So if you wanted to, you could change that number to be however many books are listed under title. I read a lot of books at once, and I only want to count the ones that I finish. So I like to do the finish date because that shows that I've finished it. And then that way we can get those statistics powered by how many books I actually finish rather than how many books I have going on at once. But just keep in mind, if you have a lot of books that you have going on at once and you are filling out this the spreadsheet with all that information, your statistics might not equal 100% because it's going to count all of the genres that are listed and all of the information about the book that's listed, but it will only count it as read when you put a finish date in there. So your percentages might just be slightly off until you finish the book. So just keep that in mind. But other than that, I think that is pretty much a good example of everything that this reading log can do. This reading log is free to you, available to use however you'd like. Feel free to change it up, do whatever you'd like to make it your own. I love hearing from people and hearing how they make it their own and what they do differently. It's really cool to just see that there are so many different ways that readers have taken this and made it their own. However works for you is totally fine with me. And yeah, if you have any questions or you want to share some cool things that you have done to kind of hack this reading log, I'd love to hear from you. But happy reading in 2026.